Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. So many of you have been struggling with submitting the DS260. And at the time I'm recording this video, it's March 2021. But I think this video actually will be useful for others in the future, and it's certainly important and timely that that those of you that are still struggling will be able to get some help now, right? So I want to address how you actually get into your DS260 to be able to open it the first time and submit it. Um, so, and the reason I'm doing this is that I still hear from people who are saying things like my form says, when I go into my form, the DS260, it says case number not available. And that's a specific problem you've caused yourself, I believe. And we have to know how to fix that, how to get around that. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show my screen and give you a few hints and tips about how to get into your form, which is pretty important to do. Okay, so let's just share my screen. Share that one. Yep. Okay, you should be seeing this now. Right. So here's what I want to actually show you. This is the place that you come to get to access your DS260. You go to the SEAC website. You can actually check your visa status in the link below. If you're a DV 2021 case, you can do that. If you're other years, this link won't work for your case until the 1st of January each year. So if, for example, you're watching this as a DV 2022, and you've just been informed that you've won, or it's between, let's say, May when you've been informed and December 31st of that same year of 2021, you actually won't be able to access your status until January 1, 2022. That's how that works. But the first step in your journey is to actually access the DS260. So you come into this link here, DS260 Online Immigrant Visa and Alien Registration Application. So this is where you actually are applying to become an immigrant, to get a green card to the USA. Now you have to enter your case number first of all, and I'm just going to make up a case number. This may not be correct. It actually may balk on me. But let's say your case number is something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I always test on this particular number. You could type in your number like that, but actually what I always say to people is remove the leading zeros, right? The leading zeros are the zeros after your region and before the first actual number in your case. So in this case, you would remove those 4 leading zeros, right? That's the first thing you need to do. You do that. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a real actual case number. So when I click next, it's coming up and it's going to challenge me for other information. You need to put in your surname. The surname is the last name or family name. On your selected letter, you'll see a place where it says your last name, comma, first name, right? Now I can't show you one of those letters because I have several. I can't show you one because obviously they're confidential to people that that have already won, and they've sent me those letters, or I've accessed those letters in various ways. But generally speaking, this is what would be termed the last name, surname, family name. All those words for this name is the same thing. It's the last name. For some people, let's say you're from Spain and you're or one of the Spanish-speaking countries where you have a double-barreled name. Let's say my name was Simon Lopez, right? 2 Lopezes. In that case, my last name is Lopez, right? So I would put both of those names in this place. Then you put the date of birth in here, and you obviously have to be careful here. The first field is the day of the month. The second field there shows which month of the year. And I know some of you will struggle with this because there's a conversion from other calendar systems, but be careful about this. This has to match. This has to match the day that you chose in your online entry. Okay, so if you get this wrong, the form won't open for you. So put in the day, the month, and the year of your date of birth. Okay, put in your confirmation number. The confirmation number is the number you got when you entered the lottery. So I'll come on to that in a moment and show you what I'm talking about with that. But you know, it's that original confirmation code. It's a weird looking number with numbers and letters. That number you need to have. And then you select whether you're the applicant, attorney, or a third-party agent. Obviously, all of you should just use the applicant. This one doesn't really matter, but just do that, and then enter this captcha. You can see this particular one, DKWV, blah, blah, blah. It's a long one. You can change the numbers and get something a little clearer. If you know, this one's pretty good, STBKNYJK, so I can read that one fairly well. So just enter that information there. If you get all of that right, you got your case number, your last name, your date of birth, and your confirmation number right, you'll get into your DS260. If you get something wrong and you try multiple times, eventually what will happen is that you will block your application. They will think that for security reasons, somebody is attempting to access your form without your permission, and they'll block it, okay? And if that's happened to you, you will see a message that says case number unavailable, and you'll have to contact KCC and get them to unblock it. There's no other way around that, and it's confusing some people, right? So some people have basically tripped over their own shoelaces and caused that problem by entering the incorrect information but the right case number on this particular form, okay? And if that happens, you're going to have to contact KCC. There's no other way. I can't fix that. Nobody else can fix that for you, and no amount of time will stop that. You know, that error message can continue to come up. Your case remains, your DS260 remains blocked until KCC unblock it for you. So that's the first thing. Now, let's talk about mistakes that you can make. You may have the wrong confirmation number as you're entering this. You might have the right case number, okay? But you may put in the wrong surname or the wrong confirmation number or the wrong date of birth, okay? And so what I want to do is show you ways that you can confirm those pieces of information. Even though you might think you're right, you could be making a mistake here. I had one the other day where, and I forgive the person that I'm going to talk about for this, but I did have one the other day where, as usual, someone was saying to me they had tried many times and they're now getting the case number unavailable, and could I help? And so my first process was to ask them for 4 pieces of information. I think I asked for 4, which was the full name, the case number, the confirmation number, the full date of birth, actually 5 pieces, and the original email address that they used when they were applying for the lottery when they entered, right? Now, I'll explain why I want that one in a moment. So that email address isn't necessary on this form, but it helps me confirm some of the other information. So I did that, and in that particular case, the person was telling me their date of birth was October the 1st, 1985 or something. And I was able to figure out that actually they had switched the dates around when they entered. And so this person, instead of saying the 10th month and the first day, was actually saying the 1st month and the 10th day. So their date of birth in the entry was entered as the 10th of January 1985 instead of the 1st of October 1985. And you can do that by switching the days around, the day and the month around, and that will cause that sort of error. And if the day of your birth is less than 12, it's possible to do that, right? So that's what happens in some cases, and I'll show you how that's relevant. So, excuse me. So if you want to confirm your details, and I would suggest anybody that tries to enter their DS260 on this page and has a problem of entry, even 1 or 2 times, if you try once or twice and you're sure you're entering the information correct, stop right there and do what I'm about to show you. to confirm that the information you're entering here is correct before you go on and try multiple times and you cause the form to be blocked. Okay, it's important that you stop where you are and get this figured out first, and then you can avoid having to contact KCC later on. Okay, so come into your the dvprogram.state.gov website, and you'll click on the check your status link. Okay, in check your status, and you say continue. You have to put in your case number, and as you can see, I've got some case numbers here. I mean, you know, I've entered this form I don't know how many times, you know, many times, and so your case number is going to look something weird like that, right? And you may have that written down incorrectly, but at some point you got your selectee number, so I'm guessing you know how to enter that. But nevertheless, I'll come back to that in a moment. You put your last or your family name in there, and then your year of birth, right? This is a pretty simple form. It only asks for 3 pieces of information: your confirmation number, your family name, your last or family name, last name. This is, you know, in my example earlier would be Lopez, right? It's the last name. If I was the singer Elvis Presley, it would be Presley. Elvis is the first name, Presley is the last name, right? So just that last name and then the year of birth. Now, most of you probably have got this information right because you've already seen your selected letter. But what you may not know and what you may not have realized is that you can click this link, forgot confirmation number. And what happens then is you get a slightly different list of names that you can fill in, which will help you to confirm whether you've made a mistake with any of the information that I'm about to show you, right? So in this one, it says again, it asks you for your family name. It asks for your first name and your middle name, right? And you can put in that information. You can also fill in the month, day, and year of the date of birth. And remember, the previous form only asked for the year. So in the case where I found out that someone had mixed up the October 1 with 10th of January, you know, transpose those numbers, 10 and 1. In that case, this form was able to show me that the person had their date of birth wrong in their original entry. And so therefore they had tried, I don't know how many times to enter their DS260. They had blocked the DS260 and caused themselves their own problem. Okay, so that's something you need to take account of here. You can put in your date of birth, and even though you might have the year accurate, you'll have inaccurate month and day. Now, if you can't get your details back, by the way, on this one, you need your original email address. That's why I mentioned it earlier. You need the email address that was used when you were entering the lottery. And so you need to provide those 4 pieces of information. And what happens is when you put in those 4 pieces of information correctly, it returns you to the previous form, the ESC page where you check your number, and it populates the first number for you, the confirmation code. It actually gives you that number. So you're confirming your confirmation code, you're confirming the names that you put in, whether it's last name or first name or middle name, etc., and you're confirming your date of birth. And those things are important because you need the date of birth in the correct format for the DS260. Okay, so this is a way that you can confirm the details that you think you entered correctly when you entered the lottery. All right, so you can do that, and it will be helpful to you. Once you know that you have all of the pieces of data correctly, you've got the right case number, you've got the right confirmation number, and you're on this page, you've got the right surname, last name, confirmation number, date of birth, etc. Once you're sure that you've got those 4 pieces of information confirmed, you're absolutely certain you've got the right numbers. And you click applicant and you put this number in, etc. If it still comes back with case number unavailable, it means somehow you've blocked your own form, and that's where you need to contact KCC. There's no other way around it. That's what you have to do. Okay, so there was one other point I was going to make. Ah, yes, it was in this one. So let me just suppose, let's say you know that you're entering your last name, your family name, and your middle name correctly. You know that the email address is accurate. but you realize that your month and day and year of birth must be wrong somehow, because this form doesn't retrieve your details. In that case, if you've got the year correct, then there's only 365 days in a year. You could, in theory, use this form multiple times, up to 365 times, to find the the day and month of birth that you put in for that particular year. So, you know, some people have said, oh, I've made a mistake and I don't know what date I used. Well, okay, how, you know, go ahead and enter this multiple times, sit there and do, I don't know, 20, 30 entries a night. It take you, you know, a few minutes or a couple of hours, whatever it takes you, and just do that for a week, right? And you'll figure out your date of birth correctly. That's the only thing you can do. I have programmatic tools, ways of doing these sort of things, so I've done that for people in the past, but in all honesty, it's not something I like doing, because, you know, your form is your information. I don't want to get involved in it. So I tend not to do that. All right, so that's important. Hopefully that will help you get into this form. The only reason that you would do all of that other thing in the forgot confirmation number is to actually get back to this page and figure that out. So so I hope that's helpful, and I hope it will clarify to some of you, you know, what you should be doing. So the other tip on here, as I say, is to make sure you take the leading zeros off of your case number. Make sure you put your case number in correctly, with the year, with the region, and then just the number part of the number. And then confirm the other pieces of information to make sure you're entering that information correctly. If you do all of that, you should be able to get into your DS260 and submit your entry. The other thing that challenges people is when they're in the DS260 and they're about to submit it. Sometimes they'll go to submit it, and there's a couple of things that can go wrong. Number one, it just won't submit and it doesn't give you any information, no feedback. That is often because you haven't clicked the link that talks about selected service. So you have to click that link that's on the last page before you actually enter or submit your DS260. If you're a male under 26, or if the person that you're filling in the form in is male under 26 years old, then that person has to read the information about the selective service. You have to click the link. You'll get a pop-up, make the pop-up go away, you can close the pop-up, and then you can submit your case. The other thing that happens sometimes is people go to submit and they see a red arrow pointing at their case number, and it's because they haven't removed the leading zeros on that particular entry where they've put in the leading zeros. So you remove the leading zeros and your case number will go, your case will submit. So that's the information I have for you to help you submit your DS260. Okay, guys, I hope that was interesting and helpful. If you have, I'm getting a security message there. If you have any other questions, obviously, please feel free to stop sharing the screen. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask those questions either here on YouTube. You could ask at my blog, which is the way I prefer you actually ask questions, because it's easier for me to organize. And you know, just let me know if you've got other challenges that you need help with. I've been helping people on DV Lottery since 2013. I run my blog, my YouTube channel. I'm building up my following, as it were, on Twitter now. I do all of that for free. I'm not a lawyer. I don't charge for this service. It's just a hobby. And the reason I do this is because I was a previous DV Lottery derivative. My wife actually was the winner. And I've just decided that I would give back some of my time to people and help out over the last few years. So that's what I've been doing. And hopefully it's useful. All right. Okay, everybody, make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and you know, let's all make sure we get our DS260s in. All right. Bye bye now.